Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment, maybe after a spiritual breakthrough, a deep meditation, or even a personal breakdown, where everything seemed to shift? Like suddenly, you saw through the illusion, the patterns, the noise, and for a moment, there was silence. And not just ordinary silence, it felt powerful, even sacred, like the kind of stillness that wraps around your soul and says, "You've finally made it." But then, something strange began to happen. That clarity, that sense of deep cosmic meaning, it slowly faded, not with a bang, not overnight, but softly, like a candle flickering out in a quiet room, and you're left sitting there, wondering, where did that spark go? Maybe you stopped chasing your dreams, stopped caring about things that once lit a fire inside you, not in a reckless way, but in this subtle, tired, almost existential kind of way. Have you felt that? That quiet voice in your heart whispering, "Why do I feel so numb now that I finally see the truth?" If you're nodding along right now, please know you're not alone. You are not broken. You are in a sacred phase that almost no one talks about. We tend to romanticize awakening like it's the final chapter, some grand finish line where all the pieces come together and life becomes magical. But the truth? Awakening isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the unraveling of everything you thought you were. Your identity, your roles, your goals, your timelines. And that unraveling is deep. It's sacred, but it can also be deeply disorienting. You're waking up from the old, but you haven't quite stepped into the new. That, beautiful soul, is the space in between. And it's not a mistake. It's not failure. It's transformation. Let me share something personal. I remember speaking to a dear friend once. She had just come through a dark night of the soul. She told me, "I finally get it. I see the illusion. I've let go of my attachments." And yet, just weeks later, she was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, completely unmotivated. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I used to cry because I wasn't achieving enough. Now, I don't care if I achieve anything at all. I thought awakening would make me come alive, not leave me like this." Maybe you felt the same. If you have, please hear this. You didn't lose your fire. You outgrew the fuel. You see, before awakening, most of our motivation comes from ego, from identity, from a need to prove, to succeed, to be seen and validated. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of being human. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, called that the persona, the mask we wear to function in society. But when awakening happens, that mask falls away. You stop playing the game because you see the game. And that's where things get strange. Suddenly, all those old goals, they don't fit anymore. They were crafted by a version of you that no longer exists. You've stepped off stage, but you don't know your next role yet. And that space between who you were and who you're becoming. That's what Jung called the liminal space. A place where the ego feels lost, but the soul is beginning to lead. It's like you've been emptied, not because you're broken, but because something deeper is preparing to emerge. And I know it can feel like failure, like depression, like you're stuck. But what if I told you this stuckness is actually sacred? Jung believed that this pause, this inner stillness was not only important, it was essential. He called this process enantiodromia, when something swings so far in one direction, it must return to the opposite. You go from hustle to stillness, from "I must do everything" to "why do anything at all?" And that swing, that return to stillness, it's not regression, it's rebalancing. You're not lost, you're dissolving the old. And what's dissolving is the small self, the ego, so that the true self can rise. The soul doesn't speak in deadlines or hustle. It speaks in nudges, in dreams, in quiet inner pools. But to hear those whispers, you need space, stillness, silence. That's why your motivation vanishes, not because you're lazy, but because your soul wants your attention, and it will quiet everything else until you finally turn inward. This is the part no one posts about. It's not trending, It's not glamorous. It looks like crying in your room, sitting in silence while the world speeds past you, questioning your purpose, your value, your next step. But let me tell you, you are exactly where you need to be. This isn't the end of your fire, it's the refining of it. Your old fire needed applause. This new flame, it burns steady even in silence. And here's the beautiful thing. Once you stop resisting the void, the real you begins to emerge. You start to notice little sparks, a nudge to create something, even if no one sees it, a pull toward peace instead of performance, an urge to live from truth instead of approval. It's not adrenaline, it's alignment. It's a softer kind of motivation, not to impress, but to express. So if you're feeling lost right now, if you're floating in that post-awakening fog, wondering where your spark went, please don't judge yourself. You are not broken, you are becoming. This isn't the death of your passion, it's the birth of your purpose, and it starts here. In the pause, in the quiet, in the goo before the wings, let yourself be here. And when the time is right, you won't need to push. You'll feel it. That gentle yes in your soul. That subtle click of inner truth. And you'll know. It's time. Until then, rest, trust. And remember, you are not falling behind. You are falling into alignment. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And if you want more content like this, real, honest, soul-deep conversations, make sure to subscribe. Because your awakening, it's not the end, it's where your true life begins.